Good afternoon, dear learners. I welcome you all for today's session. Today we are going to study about spreadsheets. So I hope you must have seen your MS Excel sheet so far at least once in your lifetimes. So they are basically called spreadsheets. We are going to understand what are the applications of spreadsheets, what are the different types of functions, charts, graphs you can make using spreadsheets. So let's have a look. So firstly we are going to study about what is basically a spreadsheet. Spreadsheet is one of the very useful application software for handling numerical data and short text strings. The data is arranged in a grid of rows and columns which can be manipulated, analyzed and displayed in various formats including tables and charts. This helps us make more informed decisions. We are able to track changes in data, write formulas to perform calculations on that data, and even build models for analyzing the data. So the various spreadsheet software which are available in the market are Lotus 123, MS Excel and OpenOffice CALC. The most prominent one is the MS Excel because it is included in the MS Office package and it is basically used by everyone in our day-to-day lives. You know that spreadsheet is a very useful application, especially in offices where numerical data has to be stored, manipulated and analyzed at regular intervals. Each page of a spreadsheet is known as the worksheet and a collection of worksheet constitutes a workbook. So whenever you open an Excel document in your computer, you basically open a workbook which is further a collection of different worksheets. Some of the common applications of spreadsheets are, first is, these act like a calculator for doing automatic calculations. They are used to calculate, analyze, store and present the information. In a spreadsheet, if one value is changed, all the corresponding calculations will be recalculated. So these are very useful in what-if analysis. I'll give you an example. For example, if you have a data and you have kept some constant and based on that constant some of the results are getting changed. Now if you want to see that what happens to the result if your constant is changed, like suppose the constant is increased or decreased, then you can simply just change that constant and the result would itself be recalculated. So in such kind of situation where you just want to change some particular values and you want to see that how the result is getting affected by changing that values, the MS Excel is very useful. So it is basically very useful in what if analysis, like what if this happens kind of analysis. Spreadsheets are very useful to manage financial data like stock exchange movements, account transactions, etc. The data in a spreadsheet can be pictorially represented through charts. We are going to discuss about the various kind of charts and graphs which we can make using Excel in the further session. The various inbuilt functions help in easy processing and manipulation of data. Suppose you want to keep track of a student's marks in your workbook, then the inbuilt function in Excel such as sum, average, maximum marks, maximum function, min function, these kind of inbuilt function help you to process the data and manipulate the data very easily. Suppose you have entered the marks of all the students, you want to find out the average marks of the class. This can simply be done by using an inbuilt function in Excel. Similarly, you can find the percentage, the maximum marks, the minimum marks and so on. So the inbuilt functions of Excel make these tasks very simple. Now how do we start OpenOffice CALC? To start the OpenOffice CALC, you have to follow the steps. Firstly, select Start, then you have to go to All Programs, then OpenOffice 4.1.1. Select OpenOffice CALC option. The CALC application window will be displayed as you can see in the figure. So this is the CALC application window. Now we are going to study about the various components of the CALC application window. The first one is the title bar. The title bar is located on the top of the application window. It displays the name of the workbook and the name of the application. The window control buttons such as minimize, maximize, restore and close are present on the extreme right of the title bar. The menu bar. The menu bar is below the title bar. Below the title bar is the menu bar, which contains various menu items such as file, edit, view, insert, format, tools, data, window and help. The menu bar gives access to the basic commands used in the CALC. Third component comes the standard toolbar. Below the menu bar is the standard toolbar, which contains buttons for frequently used commands such as new, open, save, print, cut, copy, paste, etc. This toolbar is also known as function toolbar. The fourth component, the major component of the CALC application window is formatting toolbar. This toolbar consists of commands that help in formatting text and numbers data like font style, size, color, bold, italic, underline, various number formats, etc. Like if you want to style your data, basically you want to bold the selected data, you want to add some special effects such as bold, italics, underline, or maybe you want to change the font size, font style, the color of the cell, the color of your font, then that can be done using the formatting toolbar. The next component is the formula toolbar. This toolbar contains the name box and the formula bar. The formula bar again plays a very important role in the CALC application window. Whatever formula you are writing in a particular cell at the present moment is also reflected in the formula bar. The name box, it displays the name of the selected cell or the range of cells. For example, the name of the active cell, suppose is A2, then it would be displayed in the name box. Formula bar, it contains the content of the selected cell or the formula applied on the selected cell. It is also used for editing the cell contents or the formula in the active cell. Now rows and columns. The entire worksheet is divided into horizontal rows and vertical columns. The rows are numbered on the left side of the worksheet as 1, 2, 3 and so on, and the columns are named on the top of the application window. They start from ABC and continue so on. Cells. The rows and column in a spreadsheet intersect to form the smallest unit of a worksheet, that is a cell. So this again is very important. You must be thinking that what is the smallest unit in a spreadsheet. So it is basically cell. The cell is the smallest unit in a spreadsheet. Each cell has a unique address, which is the combination of the row number and the column name. For example, the cell D10 will be formed by intersection of the row number 10 and the column name D. So that is how a cell address is formed. Suppose we take row number 7 and then maybe the column name A, then A7 would be the cell which would be formed from 7th row and first column, which is the A column, and hence the name A7. Now there is a cell called as active cell. The active cell is the cell that is currently active or selected. The active cell has a thick black outline. Data is always entered in the active cell. You cannot enter data in the cell which is not active, and at time only one cell particularly can be active when you are entering the data. So whenever you have to write something in a particular data, you have to select that cell, that is make the cell active, and then you will be able to perform operation on that. Next is sheet tabs. The sheet tabs are present at the bottom of the worksheet. These are named as sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3 and so on. The active sheet tab indicates the current worksheet. By default, there are 3 worksheets in a workbook, but we can add more worksheets as per our requirement. The next component of the CALC application window is status bar. This is located at the bottom of the CALC application window and it displays information about the current worksheet. The scroll bar, there are 2 scroll bars on the right of window, the horizontal scroll bar and the vertical scroll bar. The horizontal scroll bar helps to navigate left and right of the worksheet, and similarly the vertical scroll bar helps to navigate the up and down of the worksheet. We can click the arrows on the either side of the scroll bars to navigate through the worksheet. So these are the two scroll bars in the CALC application window. The next component is the docking toolbar. On the extreme right of the CALC window, there are 5 icons: Properties, Styles and Formatting Gallery, Navigator and Functions. By clicking on any of these icons, the corresponding docking toolbar opens, containing various buttons to format text, apply style, insert picture, navigate through the document, and use various built-in functions provided by the CALC respectively. So these were the different important components of the CALC application window. Now let us see how do we create a new workbook in the CALC application window. When you start CALC, the application opens with a new workbook. However, if you want to open a new workbook when the CALC application is already running, then you have to select File, then from File you can go to New, and then from New you can go to Spreadsheet. This is also represented in the figure if you can see. The new workbook will be created and its name will appear on the title bar of the CALC window. There is one more shortcut for creating a new workbook. You can simply press Ctrl and simultaneously Ctrl plus N to open a new workbook in CALC. That's a shortcut for creating a new workbook. Now how do we save a workbook? Obviously if you are able to work but you are not able to save that particular work, then it's of no use. So saving a workbook, saving the content which you are writing on a workbook is also equally important. Now the steps to save a workbook is, again you have to go to the file. From file you have to go to save as. The save as dialog box will appear. Browse the folder where the file has to be saved. You have to select the destination where you want your file to be saved. Then at that particular destination, once it's selected, you have to type the name with which the file have to be saved in the file name text box. Then click Save button. By default, the file created in OpenOffice CALC is saved with an extension .ods. After saving the name of the file appears in the title bar of the CALC window. We can also save the document by clicking on Save button on the standard toolbar. Now you must also note that Save as dialog box appears only when we are saving the file for the first time. However, if the same file has to be saved with a different name or at a different location, then also you have to select the Save as option again from the file menu. So if you have saved your workbook once and then you have entered some more data, then you want to again save it, then you can simply go to Save. But if you want to rename your file or maybe change the destination where your file is saved, then you have to go to Save as option. And if we talk about the shortcuts, then if you press Ctrl, Shift and S together, then you can save the document for the first time. Like suppose if you are saving your document for the first time, you can press Ctrl, Shift and S together. That would lead you to the Save As window again, and you will be able to write a file name and save it wherever you want. And if you have already saved the document once and you just want to save the more data which you have done after the saving, you can simply press Ctrl plus S. That would again save your data. Now opening an existing workbook. How do we open an existing workbook in CALC? The existing file can be opened by browsing to the folder which contains the file and then double clicking on it. However, if the application is running, then you have to follow some steps to open an existing workbook. Firstly, go to File. From File, you have to go to Open. Then the Open dialog box will appear. You have to browse the folder where the file to be opened exists. Then select the file and click Open button. Now how do we close a workbook? We can in the CALC window by selecting File and Close. However, to exit CALC, you need to click the cross button on the top right corner of the title bar or click File and Exit option. So if you want to exit from the workbook, you have to click on file and then close, and if you have to exit from the worksheet itself, then file and exit. That would result in exiting from the CALC option, CALC application. In either of the ways, if our document to be closed is not saved, then the writer prompts us to save the document before closing. Now the very important part is, how do we enter data in the CALC application? So the data is entered in the cells of a worksheet. The data that we enter may be in the form of text, numbers or formulas. Entries containing an alphabet or a character, even if they start with a number, are called text entries. Any text entry containing alphabets or non-numeric special characters such as the ampersand sign, the asterisk sign, percentage sign, etc., they are all called as label. Now for example, if we write a keyword, suppose grade, or any combination of characters and special characters, or maximum marks, etc., anything, any combinations you write, these are all labels. Even the numeric data in combination of the alphabets and the special characters, like flat #100 or maybe number #1 or anything, any particular name, they all are labeled. These entries cannot be used in any type of calculations. The data on which the arithmetic calculation can be performed is known as numerical data or value. In addition to the numbers, characters like addition, subtraction, dot, percentage, etc., or any currency sign, these can also be entered along with numerical data. Now I would like you to have a look on the table. So it represents to you the character and the purpose of that particular character. So the plus sign represents a positive number. This negative sign represents a negative number. This dot, which is also known as a period, represents a decimal number. The brackets enclose data in the brackets, so if you have to enclose any data, then you have to use these brackets. Then the percent sign is obviously used for percentage. Dollar or any currency denotes the number as a currency. The capital E, small e denotes the exponential for the scientific notation of numbers. So these are the some of the characters and their purpose. Now text and numerical data. To enter labels or values, just click the cell in which the data has to be entered. The cell becomes the active cell in which the data can be typed. Now if you see this figure, the cell A2 contains the label marks and the cell A3 contains the value 67.89. So this is how the cells contains data. Now formulas. So we are going to study about formula after a short break.
करने राहों को आलोकित करने, जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने। धन साधन समय की सीमा से कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने हम, अपना जीवन स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बात।
कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम, अपना जीवन स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम,
Welcome back. So we were discussing about the data entry part. Now we are going to discuss about formula. So formulas are an essential part of any spreadsheet application and they generally define a relationship between two or more cells. It is a combination of values, operators, cell addresses, etc. While entering a formula, we can either refer to individual cell or a range of cells. They help in performing calculations and also in the what if analysis. The formula always starts with an equal sign. So if you are starting with writing a formula, you have to start with an equal to sign. So it will automatically reflect that you have started writing a formula. When we type the formula or click on the cell containing the formula, we will see that the formula also appears in the formula bar. How do we enter the formula? After entering the formula, if we try to edit it by clicking in the formula bar, the accept editing and cancel editing button on the left side of the formula bar becomes active, as you can see in the figure. Also notice that the color of the cell reference and the color of the border of the cell is same. Now selecting a cell or a range of cells. In OpenOffice CALC, we may require to select a single cell or a range of cells. These cells or range of cells can be selected using either a keyboard or a mouse. The selected cells are shaded in blue color. To select a single cell, clicking on that cell, this currently selected cell is known as the active cell, as we have discussed before. The cell which you click on and then the borders get highlighted, that particular cell is known as the active cell. To select the entire row or column, you can click on the row number or the column name. By clicking on the column name, that particular whole column will get selected. If you want to select a particular row, then you can click on the row number. That would result in selecting that entire row. So this is how you select a particular row or a particular column. Now to select the adjacent range of cells, place the mouse pointer in the first cell of the range. Thereafter, click and drag the mouse pointer in the direction of the selection till the last cell in the range is selected. Suppose you have to select any 5 cells, the 5 adjacent cells. You have to firstly start with the first cell. You have to keep your mouse pointer on the first cell, drag the mouse pointer till the 5th cell, and once the 5 of them are selected, then you can leave the mouse pointer. Now for example, if cell range A3 to B8 has to be selected, place the mouse pointer on the cell A3, then click and drag the mouse till the end of the cell B8. Now this is going to select the entire range. Using the keyboard, we can select the first cell. Thereafter, holding down the shift key and using the arrow keys in the direction of the selection, move to the diagonally opposite corner of the cell B8. Once the last cell is in the range is selected, release the shift key. So this is how you can select a cell or a particular range of cells by using either a mouse or a keyboard. You can use any one of them depending on what is easy for you to use. How do we navigate through the worksheet? So move or scroll through a worksheet. You can scroll through a worksheet by different ways. One can use mouse, scroll bar or arrow keys to move between the cells and to different areas of the worksheet. To move between cells on a worksheet, click any cell or use the arrow key. When you move to a cell, it becomes the active cell. Now scroll and zoom by using the mouse. Some mouse devices and other pointing devices such as the Microsoft IntelliMouse pointing device have built-in scrolling and zooming capabilities that you can use to move around and zoom in or out on your worksheet or chart sheet. You can also use the mouse to scroll in the dialog boxes that have drop-down list with scroll bars. Now data entry. You can enter various kinds of data in a cell, numbers or data. So your numbers can be in the form of either whole numeric values, whole numbers, example 25, it can be either decimal numbers, example 25.67, 63.50, 48.20, and it can also be scientific notation as I told you earlier. Now when you have to enter the data in series, you can fill a range of cells either with the same value or with a series of values with the help of the autofill feature. Text. First, select the cell in which the data has to be entered and type the text. Press enter key to finish your text entry. The text will be displayed in the active cell as well as in the formula bar. If you have numbers to be treated as text, use an apostrophe as the first character. You cannot do calculations with these kind of data entry. Now if you want to enter your date and time as a data, then Excel convert these entries into serial numbers and keep as background information. How do we edit data? Now editing your Excel worksheet data is very easy. You can edit your data by any of the following ways. First is select the cell containing the data to be edited, press F2, use backspace key and erase the wrong entry, retype the correct entry. Second is select the cell and simply retype the correct entry. Third is if you want only to clear the contents of the cell, select the cell and press the delete key. So this is the simplest one if you want to delete the whole content of the cell. Now fourth is to bring back the previous entry, either click on the undo button on the standard toolbar or select edit and then undo command or use keyboard shortcuts Ctrl+Z. That is how you can edit your data. Now let's discuss about cell references. So each worksheet contains a number of columns and rows. Now each cell of the worksheet has a unique reference. For example, A8, if I talk about, refers to the cell containing column number A and row number 8. So this is how that particular cell can be referred. Now one important thing is how do we find and replace the data in a worksheet. You may want to locate a number or a text that is already typed in the worksheet. This can be done through the home tab, and you have to go to the home tab and then go to find. You can also locate your data and replace with new data with the replace button. That is also found under the find tab. So it is, you have to go to the home tab, then find, and then replace. That's how you can replace whatever you want. Suppose you have some common entries, suppose 8 has you have 4 or 5 times 8 is written in your worksheet, and you want to replace all the 8s by 10 or maybe 7. Then you can just simply go to the replace tab, which is under the home tab, and simply find, in the find what, you have to write 8, and in the replace option you can write 10. Then all the entries of 8 will be replaced by 10. Now, how do we insert blank cells on a worksheet? Select the cell or the range of cell where you want to insert the new blank cell. Select the same number of cell as you want to insert. For example, to insert 5 blank cells, you need to select 5 cells. Now on the home tab in the cells group, click the arrow next to insert and then click insert cells. So that is how we insert cells. Now similarly we can also be requiring to insert a whole row in your worksheet. So to insert a single row, select the row or a cell in the row above which you want to insert the new row. For example, to insert a new row above row 5, click a cell in the row 5. To insert multiple rows, select the rows above which you want to insert rows. Select the same number of rows as you want to insert. For example, to insert 3 new rows, you need to select 3 rows. To insert non-adjacent rows, hold down Control while you select non-adjacent rows. Now, for inserting columns on a worksheet, to insert a single column, select the column or a cell in the column immediately to the right of the column where you want to insert the new column. For example, to insert a new column to the left of the column B, you have to click on a cell in the column B. To insert multiple columns, select the columns immediately to the right of where you want to insert those columns. Select the same number of columns as you want to insert. For example, to insert 3 new columns, you need to select 3 columns. To insert non-adjacent columns, hold down the Control while you select the non-adjacent columns. So this was about how you can insert rows, how you can insert columns, or how you can insert in fact a proper cell. Now similarly you may also require to delete a particular cell, delete a row or delete a column. For doing so, you have to select the cell, row or column that you want to delete. On the home tab in the cells group, you can either to delete the selected cell, click the arrow next to the delete and then click delete cells. Or to delete the selected row, click the arrow next to delete and then click delete the sheet rows. To delete selected columns, click the arrow next to delete and then click delete sheet columns. If you are deleting a cell or a range of cell in the delete dialog box, click shift cells left, shift cells up, entire row or entire column. To move or copy the entire cells, so to move cells you can simply click on Control you can simply click on cut and the shortcut for that is Control plus X. To copy cells you can simply click on copy and the shortcut for that is Control plus C. Now select the upper left of the paste area. Now on the home tab in the clipboard group, click paste, Control V. Shortcut for paste is Control V. Now if you have to move or copy the entire cell using the mouse, then you can select the range or select the cells or the range of the cells that you want to move. Then you can do either of the following. To move a cell or a range of cell, point to the border of the selection. When the pointer becomes a move pointer, drag the cell or a range of cell to the another location. To copy a cell or range of cell, hold down the Control while you point to the border of the selection. When the pointer becomes a copy pointer, drag the cell to another location. Now prevent the copied blank cells from replacing the data. So select the range of cells that contain the blank cells. On the home tab in the clipboard group, click copy. Select the upper left cell of the paste area. On the home tab in the clipboard group, click the arrow below paste and then click paste special. Select the skip blank checkbox. Now for copying the contents of a cell, you can again to move the selection click cut and to copy the selection click copy. and in the cell click where you want to paste the characters or double click another cell to move or copy the data. On the home tab in the clipboard group, click paste and then press enter. That is how you can copy the contents of a cell. Now freeze panes. If you have a large worksheet with column and row headings, those headings will disappear as the worksheet is scrolled down. So by using the freeze pane feature, the heading can be visible at all the times. You have to click the label of the row below the row that should remain frozen at the top of the worksheet. For that, you have to select View tab, Windows group on the ribbon, and then Freeze panes, and you can simply click on Freeze pane. To remove the freeze panes, you can simply follow the same steps and click on Unfreeze panes. Now, how do you open or save or close a file? You have to go to Windows Explorer and find out the file you want to open. Double click on the file. Start MS Excel, click on the Office button on the drop down menu, click Open. Select the file you want to open from the pop-up menu. When you have finished your work on the file, you can save it either by clicking on the File Save icon at the top left corner, or click on the Office button, click on the Save at the drop down menu. So that is how you can open, save and close. Now making charts. A chart is a form of pictorial representation of data. It is easier to explain a concept or to analyze or compare data using charts. The relationships between various sets of data can also be easily understood using charts. Now OpenOffice CALC provides various types of charts. We are going to discuss some of them in detail. The first is a bar chart. The feature of a bar chart is it displays data in the form of long bars of different heights, vertically or horizontally. And application of a bar chart is it demonstrates comparison among individual lines. So you can also see this is an example of a bar graph. Next is a column chart. The feature of a column chart is that data is represented in the form of vertical bars. Application is it is used to emphasize comparison of data items within specific period. So you can see this is an example of a column chart. It represents various kinds of ratings in different versions. The consumer rating, expert rating, the predicted rating, desired rating, and the different versions of these ratings. So the column chart is the best to describe such kind of scenarios. Next chart is line chart. A line chart is basically a series of data points which are connected together with a line. And the application of a line chart is it is used to display the data trends at regular intervals. So let us have a look of an example of a line chart. This is a line chart of a wildlife population. As you can see, the blue one represents deer, the orange one represents dolphins, and the grey one represents whales. And this is also representing their graph at various intervals. Firstly from 2017 to 18, then from 18 to 19, 19 to 20, 20 to 21, and so on from 21 to 22. This is how we can wisely use a line chart. The next chart is area chart. The feature of an area chart is that it is based on a line chart, but the area between the axis and the lines is filled with different colors. The application is that it is used to highlight change over time or to display quantitative data graphically. This was about the area chart. Next is pie chart. The feature of pie chart is that data is displayed in the form of circle divided into different sectors whose size is proportional to the value it represents. The application of pie chart is it is used to demonstrate the proportional size of the item with respect to the sum of all items. Now if we have a look at an example, this is representing the sales by day. So this is the best when you have given a data in different proportions. The pie chart is the best representation which you can use. So these are the different kind of graphs and charts which we can create in OpenOffice CALC. I hope these all would be very beneficial for you when you will be writing data in Excel and using Excel in your day-to-day lives. And I hope you have understood the different concepts we have used in Excel today. Thank you so much for the session.
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने,
अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो,
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर,
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बात
कोई मन